Hello, Islanders. My name is Russell Wagner, class of 2007, and I'm the Executive Director of Alumni Relations here at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Really excited to get to share a few of our campus traditions with you today, especially some of the traditions that you should know about in starting your time here on the island. But before we do, I do want to give you a formal welcome on behalf of our 51,000 alumni board, and the Alumni Association. We're always excited to see new faces and new Islanders on our campus, and could not be more excited to have you here with us at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Now, a little bit about the Alumni Association before we get started, so you understand who we are. The Alumni Association is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're affiliated with the university, and our job is to represent every single graduate that has ever graduated from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And our job is really to preserve our traditions that we have here on campus, but we also unite fellow students and alumni through different programming, activities, events throughout the year, every single year. Now, our alumni base is very vast. In fact, we have alumni spread out throughout the country, represented in each of our 50 states. We also have alumni in several countries across the globe as well. Obviously, as you can see on the map, Texas is our most concentrated alumni area, especially in our big cities throughout the state. So areas like the Rio Grande Valley, Corpus Christi, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We have very, very high populations of alumni, and we do have chapters in three of those cities, in Austin, San Antonio, and Houston, respectively. Now, the campus itself is actually a pretty young campus. We started as the University of Corpus Christi, commonly known as UCC, back on April 1st, 1947. Here is one of the very first aerial views of campus that dates back to 1948. Before we became a college campus, this was actually a radar training facility that was owned and operated next door by the U.S. Navy. And as you can see, looking at this photo, you can see a lot of the old barracks that remain. There was even a perimeter fence that went around it. And so it was a very different place when it became a college campus in the very late 1940s. Eventually, as time went on, University of Corpus Christi became Texas A&I at Corpus Christi. Then in 1977, we transitioned again to Corpus Christi State University, in which we were just an upper two-year school. And then eventually in the early 1990s, we downward expanded again, started offering doctoral degrees, and then we became affiliated at that time with the A&M system and became Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So very, very vast history in a very, very short amount of time, but a lot of really great traditions date back to this time. And one of my favorite is the anchor. And this is actually, in my opinion, the oldest tradition that we have here. It really dates back to the very first day we were on campus. The anchor you see in all these photos is the very first original anchor we had here on the island. And this anchor was actually left by our United States Navy. And our second president, R.M. Cavanis, was unsure what exactly he wanted to do with it, so he gave it to the freshman class to take care of. And it was the freshman's class job to sand it at the beginning of each year, to give it a fresh coat of white paint. And then also they would even take it from sporting event to sporting event. They would put it in front of different fraternities' houses on campus. So it was quite the beloved symbol. And in fact, if you walk into the Round Building or the Student Services Center today, and if you look down on the floor as you walk in the front door, you will see a seal that says University of Corpus Christi with that anchor on it if you walk into that building. Now, just like many colleges back then, there were quite a few different pranks that happened between us and other schools. And eventually this anchor was disappeared of, and supposedly, as the story goes, it was eventually sold for scrap. Now, fast forward years and years later, all the way to the 2010s, and we actually had a gentleman come on the campus with a manila envelope, brought it to one of our vice presidents and said, "My father recently passed away, but he left this plaque for you in his will. You want to come back to where it belonged." And in that envelope was the plaque that was originally on the anchor that dated all the way back to 1949. And so that began the conversation of really amongst our alumni of bringing an anchor back to symbolize the tradition back from the University of Corpus Christi. So for homecoming in February of 2015, that's exactly what we did. We found a replica anchor. This anchor is a little bit bigger than the one that we had on campus back then. but we brought it back to campus now. We did learn our lesson. It is bolted to the ground, but you will find it in Anchor Plaza today, which is right there outside the University Center. And when you go look at it, you will be able to see the original plaque right there above, dating back to 1949, and then a plaque below it that tells the story of the Anchor and its importance to this to our institution. Now, another fun tradition that we began not too long ago is a tradition now called Anchors Away. And this is how we now kick off homecoming every single year. As you heard me mention, it was the freshman's job at the beginning of each school year to paint the anchor white. So for homecoming, we've actually brought that tradition back. And just for the week of homecoming, we invite students, alumni, faculty, staff to paint the anchor white again, and it remains white the entire week of homecoming until once homecoming's over, and then we return it to its gray color. Now, another really big symbol and another really big tradition that we have here on campus is the Islander Ring. And the Islander Ring has actually become quite popular with our students over the past few years. The Islander Ring is reserved for junior students. Any student with at least 75 credit hours or more is able to order their class ring. Currently, we have one of the best-selling ring programs in the entire state of Texas. So it's become quite popular with our students. And here on your screen is an example of what our ring looks like. As you can see there in the bottom, the seal of the institution with the words Texas A&M Corpus Christi around our seal, including our founding date of 1947 right there below the seagull. And then on the right-hand side, if you look there, that is one side of the ring. You see the Islanders banner there. And then right there in the middle, if you look closely, you can see a sunset over some ocean waves crashing into a beach. See a couple of palm trees. There at the bottom, again, is our founding year of 1947. And then BA, so your degree in this case would be Bachelor's of Arts. This side of your ring is symbolic of your time on the island as a student. It's you looking out of all the things you hope to achieve once you leave here and you have the tools that we've given you while you've been taking and while you've been doing classes here at A&M Corpus Christi. Now, the left side of your ring is the opposite of that. You can see there that little oval seal. If that looks familiar, that was on one of the very first slides that I pulled up. That is our alumni logo, and it is symbolic of Ward Island. It's palm trees on a reflecting pool of water, and that symbolizes our alumni's view back at campus. It's the view that alumni have once they go off, they get a job, they're successful, and they look back at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and they think about all the things that they were able to achieve because of the education that they received. They think about all the memories they made. They think about all the friends they made. They think about all the mentors that changed their life. So with our ring, you have very much a present view and then a future view for our students. Of course, the alumni side also has your graduating year up at the top, and then TAMU-CC there gracing the bottom. Now, the big part with our ring is the ring ceremony, and that is a right that every student that orders a ring gets to take part in. Our ring ceremonies take place in our Performing Arts Center. We do them 2 times a year, once in the fall, and then we do them also in the spring. It's a very elegant ceremony in which you get to shake the hand of either our president or our provost. We have a few speakers, including our alumni, the president of our alumni board. And then following the ring ceremony is really the tradition the students love to do and that you will love to do someday. And that is our Islander Ring Wish. You'll notice here in the video some students tossing something into the fountain. Each ring comes with its own miniature sand dollar or sea biscuit. And these sand dollars are used as a penny in a wishing well. So as you throw these sand dollars into the fountain, the hope is that you sit there and you think about all the things you want to achieve, and you throw that sand dollar into the fountain and make a wish for all your dreams to one day come true once you leave this island. Now, also connected to the ring is probably the thing you've noticed so far. So if you walked into the University Center or you've taken a tour, you've probably walked past our ring statue. This is just a handful of ring statues in the country. There's actually not very many of them, but this is an exact replica of the ring that you would get if you order your ring once you hit those 75 hours here at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. This is actually a replica of the very first ring that we awarded all the way back in 1999. And when we created the ring back in 1999, it took a group of alumni, faculty, staff, students, and they designed this ring. And this ring design has not changed since we put it into place in the early 1990s. But today, the ring statue is there. This particular statue was made by our friends at Deep in the Heart Foundry in Bastrop, Texas. So shout out to any of you from that particular area. If you're familiar with the Buc-ee's gas station, they are the same foundry that actually makes the Buc-ee's statues that sit outside of those gas stations. And they also do all the replacement door handles and door hinges in the state capitol as well. So they stay quite busy. But if you're ever in the UC, feel free to walk by, take a glance at it, and get a peek at the ring that you're someday order as well. Now, another tradition on campus that has started just within the past couple of years is something we lovingly call the Good Luck Foot. The gentleman that you see here is Dr. Hector P. Garcia. Dr. Hector P. was an amazing civil rights leader, especially for Mexican Americans here in South Texas. And he had a clinic here, and a lot of times he would give health care to those that couldn't afford it. But his big thing was education, and really believed that education was everybody's business and everyone deserved a good quality education. His plaza now is on our campus, and as the story goes is that if you need a little bit of extra luck during the week of finals, that you can go to Hector P. Garcia. You can reach over the fountain that surrounds him, and if you reach out and you can rub his foot will give you a little bit of extra luck during the week of finals if you need it. Now, another area that you may have walked through on campus is Cat Alley. This is very unique to our campus. It's always filled with loving cats, whether you love them or you hate them. People love this area on campus to just relax, open a book, study, talk with friends. But our cat population is extremely friendly, so feel free to walk by. It's the area right there between the library and the Center for the Sciences, and you can tell some of our furry friends hello while you do. Another tradition that just started about 2 years ago is a tradition that our Student Government Association started that we call Blues Day Tuesday. And what we like to do here on the island is we like to wear our Islander blue every chance we get. But obviously the goal with Blues Day Tuesday is to wear blue on Tuesday. So if you come to campus on Tuesday, be sure you wear your blue. Now, I understand if you're first starting classes with us, you probably don't have many Islander shirts, but I promise you, you will have plenty of opportunities for free t-shirts and free swag. But just make sure on Tuesday you put that Islander blue on, wear it around campus. And this is something the entire campus does. So not only just the student body, but faculty, staff, your professors, and administration will all be donned in blue every single Tuesday throughout the entire year. Now, there's lots of events throughout the year to take part of that are really big traditions within students. Obviously, that's going to look a little bit different right now, but homecoming is probably the big one, and this is the one our students are always the most excited about. The photo that you see here is from Lighting of the Eye. This takes place on the Friday of homecoming and is considered our pep rally of sorts. Usually the event the students most look forward to, and we have different speeches from our athletes, our athletic director, usually an alumni or two. President Miller is also there to get everyone excited for the basketball games the next day. And then, of course, is the big moment in which we bring out a big blowtorch and we light our eye on fire and keep it lit that night for everyone to enjoy. A couple of other fun events for homecoming. Of course, you heard me mention already, but here's Anchors Away again, the tradition, and this is what kicks off homecoming every single year, in which it's us painting that anchor white that I spoke of earlier. We also have a really fun casino night hosted by Campus Activities Board called Islander Reno that you can take part in. And then on the weekend, right before our basketball games, we have a big giant block party that has food trucks. Last year, we had Jay Coote from The Voice perform some live music with us. There's always games, prizes, always a good time at the block party. And that, of course, ends with 2 basketball games, a women's game, and then also a men's game to cap off homecoming weekend, which every single year is always in the month of February. Now, homecoming obviously isn't the only event that you can go to or the only way you can get involved on campus. There's a few others that we have. Here's just a little snapshot of some of the events that you can look forward to, everything from sporting events to the arts to different club organizations. Here are just a few that are my favorite personally. Waves of Welcome does a lot of great activities the first few weeks of school. Definitely go visit the website and stay tuned to social media. There's tons of different events that you can take part in to meet fellow Islanders. And like I said, get some of those free t-shirts that we talked a little bit about earlier. Also, another popular one is Pause on the Island. This takes place a few days before finals starts. It's just a way for students to relieve stress. We bring some therapy animals on the campus, and students can interact with dogs that we have or cats or different animals that we bring onto campus. We also have Islander Lights. This takes place just before winter break every single year, and it's the big night in which we light up campus for the holiday season. The night has a lot of different activities, especially for families, but students also like to come. There's different games. There's usually a petting zoo, usually food and drinks like hot chocolate and tamales. And then, of course, all of it's capped off by lighting the tree that you can see right there in front of the Michael and Karen O'Connor building. And then in the spring, one of the big ones is Big Event. This is a big community service day that most of our students take part in. Every single year, over 1,000 Islanders dedicate their time to go somewhere in our coastal Bend community and do some sort of community service projects, whether it's volunteering at the food bank or maybe mowing the grass, picking up trash along the highway. But we do, it's an all-day service project in which all you have to do is just sign up to volunteer, and you can take part in that tradition, as you can see here in this photo. Now, you've gone through all these events, you've purchased your ring, you've seen the anchor, and now it's time to graduate. In the week of graduation itself, there's a lot of different traditions in its own right that happen, getting you prepped for commencement. Of course, our alumni board, you can see some of them there, love to come out in force during graduation week. There's also the ROTC commissioning, in which people are, some of our ROTC officers are commissioned into the United States Army. There's different hoodings, there's different pinnings, and then of course there's graduation itself. And looking at this photo, you may notice these really brightly colored flowers that these individuals have on their necks. And this is a tradition as well. And this is the Islander lei. The lei is reserved for anybody that graduates from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Students are encouraged to buy these leis, and it's symbolic of basically moving and transitioning from your time as a student to officially becoming an alumnus of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. These leis are fresh leis. We have them grown specifically for us at a farm in Thailand. They're flown to us, and then you'll get it that day of commencement. Roughly 125 flowers are placed in each one of these leis, and they make for a really nice keepsake, and of course are great for your photos leading up to and during the ceremony. Now, the last thing I definitely want to talk to you about is the shotgun. You may notice in tons of different materials for the website, photos, different recruitment pieces that you saw, people doing our official hand sign, and this is called the shotgun. Now, a lot of students will do this different ways, but there's one approved way to do the shaka, and I want to make sure that you know how to do it. So when you're at your next event, you can flash it properly. It's quite easy to do. You basically stick your hand out like you're going to do a thumbs up. You stick your thumb up, and then you complete it simply by sticking your pinky out. So it looks just like you're going to make a phone call. Some people like to sit there and wiggle it a little bit, but the shaka just right out can just stay simple. Simple as that. Now, there is also something we do at our sporting events in which we yell shakas up. And then this is also the major tagline for our athletics program as well. So if you hear shakas up, and your job then is to raise your shaka in the air. So if you're ever there at a sporting event and you hear shaka up, all you have to do is make that shaka and then stick it in the air. Again, everyone, so glad that you're here on campus. All of our 51,000 alumni could not be more excited that you're joining us on campus. We realize that this fall is going to be looking a little bit different than most, but we can't wait to interact with you, get involved with you with some of our different programs and events, and can't wait to see you at a ring ceremony, commencement, or another campus event very soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to some of our best campus traditions. My name is Russell Wagner, class of 2008, and go Islanders.